Hi, Cosmic Soul family. Carmela here with Astrology. I just wanted to reflect on some energies here, coming highlights for June. I'm going to go ahead and screen share those so you can possibly copy and paste and take a screenshot if you want. See, these are just some of the major things that we're going to be looking at as far as the June highlights, because there's a lot happening this month, but there's a lot more happening in June or July rather in the rest of the year. But this is kind of like a precursor. We're starting to feel the emotional cognition. And I say that because Cancer just went into Mercury, or Mercury just went into Cancer, rather. See, still kind of floating around. We also that's happening today, June 1st, then June 9th. We have this really interesting conjunction with Venus and Jupiter in Cancer. On June 13th, Venus enters Leo. We also have the new moon in Gemini on the 14th. Chiron is going to be entering Taurus for the next 3 months until September when it retrogrades back. So we're going to be getting a little bit of a preview of what this we're being focused to heal within ourselves, which is everything to do with Taurus. So we'll be looking at that. Of course, we also have the solstice on June 21st, which marks it's a cardinal point that begins summer, right? So cardinal is always the beginning of a season, and then the fixed is the middle of it, and then the mutable is the end of a season beginning another season. So we can see that June 21st is begins Cancer season, and it also begins our summer. June 28th, Mars enters Gemini, which is our action planet. Again, it's going to be really activating the mind. June 29th, Mercury stations retrograde in Cancer, so that's going to be again having to re-look at things from the family, our emotional intelligence capabilities, what we've learned while it was moving forward, and we got to go back and maybe do some things to do with the family and having to deal with our emotional body. Then, of course, we get the full moon in Capricorn on June 29th at the end of the month. And then the big event, another big event, because there's a lot of, all of these aspects initiate something. But the one that it's going to be for the next 12 months is Jupiter in Leo. So Jupiter's been in Cancer for the last year, and now it's going to be ingressing. So we're going to be looking at that. So go ahead and screen share that just so you can kind of, highlight that. Now I'm going to share the screen. We're going to take a look at the wheel for those that are interested in astrology and want to know some of these aspects. I have the ascendant on Aries at 0 degrees to kind of keep it formulated. Excuse me. with the energies. Pardon me. I'm finally getting rid of this throat thing. It's the last remnants of it. So I start talking, it always comes out because I guess I get nervous still doing these things. I've been doing this for years, but I still get this little bit of anxiety before these presentations. So thank you for being here. And if you're here or new to the channel, thank you so much for connecting. This is a metaphysical astrology channel. So we're looking at the aspects for astrology, but we're also, we have a metaphysical bent to the way these energies work, right? We're going beyond the physical aspects and really getting into more of the psycho-spiritual connections to how this can all be playing out into your interpersonal chart. So right now I have the event on June 1st, 2026. So we can see here that this is the symbol or the glyph for Venus is just ingressed into our Mercury, rather, it's just ingressed into Cancer. And so Mercury's the mind, it's how we think. Cancer is family, it rules the moon, it's our emotional body. It rules how we feel. It's a water sign, it's a cardinal water, right? So it's initiating. So with Mercury, the words that kept coming up when I was looking at this ingress and how I'm feeling it is really a deep level of emotional intelligence. And something is going to need to shift or change in the way we perceive ourselves, because we also have the square happening. So if you look to see the degree point 0 degrees, you want to count down 90 degrees, and it's Aries here in Neptune. And any degree point you want to look at too that's close to 0 degrees, you want to kind of look at the chart. This is how astrologers find aspects. We see other signs or planets that have similar degree points. So you can see that Gemini is semi-sextiling this energy as well. So like a semi-sextile is also having to make an adjustment. It's like a next door neighbor that you can't see inside their house, but you know they live there, right? So looking at the energy ingressing from Gemini, we have the sun in Gemini right now at 11 degrees. And so what's going to be semi-sextiling, this is Sedna, the energy that's conjunct Uranus, and Sedna has to do with betrayal energy. And of course, it's going to be squaring Neptune, which has to do with spirituality, our planet of illusion, also our dreams, hopes, wishes. Sorry, guys, I'm going to go ahead and cough here again because I was feeling fine. All of a sudden, I feel like I need to, excuse me. Should have brought my water with me. Anyway, so with this Mercury that's squaring Neptune, kind of lightly squaring Saturn, because Saturn is slowly moving away from Neptune right now. So Saturn is our planet of structure, but Neptune is, again, hopes, dreams, and wishes. What do you want to feel? Because again, we're looking at Cancer. Cancer is about feeling and emotional intelligence. And Neptune is really having us focus in on our dreams. It's also focusing in on where we have had illusions about ourself, our identity. Maybe we were, and some of this was inherited because Cancer also has to do with the family. So where do we have inherited beliefs or inherited thought form patterns that need to be adjusted, that need to be revealed so we can have a new vision, not only of ourselves, but of our families, the collective family, right? The large family, because we've also got Venus right now that's getting ready to conjunct Jupiter. Jupiter's expansion. It's the big planet, right? It's the planet that wants benevolence. It's our, what you would say, our good luck planet, but it's also just the planet of expansion. So we're being expanded right now to really learn to love our families, ourselves, Aries squaring, and anywhere we have inherited beliefs, because it also rules, the family, the root system. And so the roots right now need watering, and we need to rewater. We need to re-soil. We need to bring value, right? Because Venus also rules our values. We need to know what we value at this time. And so this is an initiation point starting the beginning of June. We just had this full moon in Sagittarius, which was getting us very clear about our beliefs, what we feel to be true. This is also, you can see the moon right now is still in Sagittarius when this is being filmed on June 1st. And so Sagittarius with the full moon was illuminating, what do you really believe? What do you really taking all this data information from Gemini, but what are your own beliefs? What do you know to be true? Well, knowing is more Aquarius, is Pluto. But Sagittarius is having us reevaluate our belief systems. So, and it's actually trining this energy right now as this is being filmed. Chiron, this is also Eris, Eris, and which is Mars's sister. So this is an opportunity to really tune into, what do we believe? What do we are now willing to accept as truth, going into our own gnosis, going into our own experiential relationship with where we've traveled, what we've studied. This is higher learning. And how can we integrate that into wisdom? So Chiron is really, in Chiron, some astrologers say is the wounded healer, but that's also, Chiron was also a master teacher and an alchemist. He was the one that taught all the heroes, right, how to heal themselves, and alchemy and self-defense and martial arts and all these different things. He was basically teaching the hero, which very much Aries is the hero energy, right? So what do you believe to be the hero now? And this also might be changing identity too, because it is Aries, where perhaps you were a different type of hero. And I know for me, I've really been deep diving into, you have the hero and the villain, but there's this also storyline with the anti villain, right? So because the hero would be opposite the villain. So the anti-hero would be the villain, but there's also an anti-villain. And so that's almost like the darker side of heroism. I think of Batman, right? How he had trauma and different things happened to him. And he became a superhero, but he still has a dark side, right? So, and we still got Black Moon, we got Black Moon Lilith conjunct the moon today. That's also, again, trining this energy. So, the hero of perhaps we've been taught to be heroes is shifting and changing what we thought we needed to save, what we thought we believed to be true, this reality, this timeline. And again, I go back to this ingress into Mars, or this ingress into Mercury with Cancer, that it's really connecting us to what you feel to believe is true. Your perception, Gemini, will be true for you, because in creation and manifestation, you have to feel it. Not only do you have to visualize it and conceptualize it and mantra it, right? But you also have to feel it into existence, like as if you were already that, whatever it is part of manifestation. So our manifestations are changing real time right now, because we're starting to have a new sense of self and a new sense of identity. As this full moon illuminated where we've held beliefs that just no longer make sense. Some of us may thought we had to, be the hero and the savior of the world, when we realize Aries first house, we just need to learn to be the hero and savior of our own lives, of our own emotional intelligence, how we think about ourselves, how we nurture ourselves. We need to learn to be almost like that deeply divine feminine, the archetypical mother, but like the superhero mother, right? The mother that fiercely loves and nurtures and protects. And this is also Black Moon Lilith, and also won't be controlled, won't be dominated by anybody else's belief systems anymore. This is stepping into a sense of autonomy and identity that perhaps we'd never been able to access before. So this was definitely an initiation point, a big reveal point after May 31st. And so now as we're moving forward and we're getting into more of our emotional intelligence, Gemini is still, the sun is shining a light on new data, new information, new ways of seeing the world. Almost we have to like go back to childhood and relearn, rethink, reorganize what we thought we've been taught. Uranus is there, is changing everything, is changing our mental faculties, how we think, what we're thinking about, what we're putting our focus on, which is very much Sagittarius. And Mars, which is our action planet, is in Taurus. So we've had to slow down and really learn to embody these energies. Excuse me, I got to cough one more time. Excuse me, my apologies. Still opening up this throat chakra. I've got Mars and Taurus natally at 0 degrees in the 5th house. So learning to express my creative form without feeling so gosh darn judgy of myself and feeling like everything has to be perfected. I've got Virgo 10th house. So this is something that I've been working on and learning to harness my own emotional intelligence, right? And utilizing technology as a feedback when I'm looking at my own chart. This is something that I do before I get on these transmissions, is I deep dive into my own chart, and I always ask, chat as a reflection. Of course, I use my own program and I just look at certain things that I'm highlighting within. So this is just kind of a complementary way to use AI, a benevolent way to use technology, which is also very much Uranus and Aquarius. And Uranus right now is in Gemini and it's trining Pluto. So having powerful realizations about yourself, about your own personal planets. This is just kind of, again, a benevolent way to use technology. If you're studying astrology and you want to start harnessing AI is not going to be accurate. You have to go in and manually put in what your own configurations are if you are using this tech for feedback, for reflection, which I do. And again, I always meditate and just command the ship and just ask for highest and best and set the intention that I need to see what I need to see. That needs to be reflected at this time. So again, we have the technology within us. If you've been watching this channel, we've been really reflecting on lately how we are the original technology. That technology that's created now is just mimicking what we already do innately, inherently. And so what's being highlighted for me right now as I'm looking at this Mars and Taurus is we have to slow down and really learn to be embodied with the energy that we're projecting. Because this is really the new power of manifestation, is being able to not only visualize your reality, right? This is also very much Mercury, and visualize your dreams. This is Neptune. But the square happening, something needs to shift is what are you imagining into your reality? Is it based on fear? Because Cancer wants safety, security, nurturance. And if it's not receiving that with the square energy, some of us may not have ever received proper nurturance or mothering or caregiving in our earlier years. So we have to envision a new version of ourselves, one more loving, one more connected to all that is, right? Neptune, this is universal love, it's hope, it's divine unity. So Mercury's coming in and saying you need a new level of emotional intelligence to navigate these waters, because with these upcoming energies, you're going to need to be tied into not only what you're thinking, but how you're feeling. And with Neptune here, what you're imagining. And a lot of our imaginations have been commandeered through fear, right? Fear through loss. Again, Cancer wants safety and security. So if Cancer doesn't feel safe, wherever you have this in your chart, that the fear might be impeding your perception of this reality and what you can or cannot create. And again, this is also early education. What have you been taught? Your relationship to power and your own ability to be powerful, to create and co-create with source, divine creator, intelligence, God, whatever you want to call it, the greater power that rules all of us, right? That we are all part of this Indra's net of this quantum field. And so if we can create anything we want and we are powerful creators, in Sagittarius, if you don't believe you're a powerful creator, then you won't be, right? This is the placebo effect. Whatever you believe to be true, or the nocebo effect. If you don't believe it, then it won't happen, right? So this is really learning to commandeer our thoughts, commandeer our emotions. And I say commandeer by giving voice to it, by allowing yourself to really feel what you're feeling. And with now that it's in Mercury, giving it a vision, giving it words. Maybe this is the time for journaling, right? This is why I use, for me, technology, and I learned to write some things down that I want to co-create and some things that are really being reflected on, and then taking action steps, Aries, on how to best feel good in your body, how to best feel good with your creations. And if it's tied to creating for the whole collective, Neptune, then your creations will be divinely supported, right? So this is getting very clear on how you want to be supported. And the next astrology highlight that's coming up, and I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this to June 9th, which is 6-9, right? Which is also the glyph for Cancer, right? You see the 6 and the 9 right there laying side by side. Well, Venus is coming up to conjunct Jupiter on that day. And so a lot of astrologers talk about this day being a good luck day, right? Because, of course, Venus is our love and money planet, our values, Jupiter's expansion. Cancer is the home. Again, divine nurturance, inheritances. This also has to do with 8th house matter, Scorpio as well. But you can see that this energy, again, is going to be squaring Chiron, and it's going to be squaring Eris. And so for me, yes, it's expansion and it's good luck because Jupiter wants you. It's the benevolent energy that wants you to have what you want to have. But you've got to feel worthy. You've got to feel that you deserve all the benevolent gifts that Jupiter wants to bring with you, all the divine inheritance that your family gifted you through, a new level of emotional intelligence, a new degree of emotional intelligence that wants to be embodied. And so Mars is in between this square and still in Taurus. So it's learning to be in the body in a new way, in a way that feels supportive, in a way that's very slow and integrative, right? Learning to maybe choose slowly and to work with the senses. This is the time to get your essential oils out or work with your favorite crystals, or even just learn to hug yourself, right? To talk to yourself in a new way, because again, Mercury's still there. So it's paying attention. The field of energy around you is paying attention to how you talk to yourself, how you nurture yourself. And so this day can be a very pivotal day. Again, 6-9. If you look at the glyph, 6-9 is in Cancer, 6-9. So there's repeating numbers there. There's a correspondence with really getting to the root of how you feel, of how you think, how you want to embody these energies, perhaps old inherited ways of the way your family talked to you or the way you heard people talk about also money, right? And self-worth. This is also tied to Venus, what you value. So did you inherit certain values from your family that just aren't valuable to you anymore? Because we did, again, we had that full moon in Sag is reevaluating your perception, your beliefs. So where your beliefs really now have sort of, we're moving away from that full moon illumination. And at this time, you can see the moon is ingressed into Aries. So this is also an initiation for a whole new way of being for yourself. If you're willing to drop the stories from the past, if you're willing to reevaluate inherited beliefs from your family, from institutions, with inner authority. I think of authority Pluto right now too, because it's also still going to be, Pluto's still trining this energy. And it's also sextiling the moon and Neptune during this time. So it's like your own personal power is being activated, especially if you're working with what? Groups, organizations, people have similar values, shared beliefs. This is also too what I'm seeing is people who want new communities, new living experiences, because Cancer rules the home. So maybe joining with new communities and on living in different structures of the home, right? I'm thinking of dome homes or people that are merging their resources together, living together, co-oping, getting more into nature, shopping less at grocery stores and shopping more at farmers markets, right? So it's about really expressing our values and taking action. And then also taking action with people around you, right? With your local communities, your groups, your organizations. Because again, Pluto's supporting this energy and Uranus wants something different. Uranus is actually demanding something different from this frequency. So, during this time period, mark your calendars, June 9, because this is an opportunity with the square and these trines to do something different, to raise the octave of your emotional intelligence. And if you can focus your creations on not just what's good for you, but good for everybody, what's good for the collective, then that Neptune energy will definitely be supporting you. And then Saturn's going to be structuring it in. In Chiron, there can be a lot of wounds that are healed, right? There can be a lot of opportunities to see where you've been wounded by not feeling you've been supported or nurtured or loved. And this is, you can really learn to love yourself at this time and find others who are also on this journey, this path of wholeness and a self-acceptance. So it really is kind of a community experience that we're all calling in for each other. And then let's go into June 13th now. I'm looking at where this Venus is ingressing into Leo. So now it has moved through Cancer, the watery realms, cardinal, and now it's moving into fire, which is fixed. And Venus enjoys being in Leo right now. Venus loves to be creative in this expression. It's again, it wants its own creativity. Fifth house is the house of the child, and it's going to be trining Neptune. So it's really about maybe working with your own inner child, having more fun, more play. This is vision questing. This is actually taking action on a vision you might have had, a creative project that might be kind of lingering in the background that maybe you didn't feel worthy enough to create. Sometimes I still feel the sense of worth even jumping on here and speaking. It's like, who's going to be listening? It's like, no, there's a primordial need to create and to express. And during this time period, coming in June 13th, you might be really feeling that sense of urgency to create and express, no matter, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Because we still have the nodes right now. We still got South Node and Virgo. So don't wait for something to be perfect for you to create something. Do it because it feels good, because you have joy doing it. Again, there's a lot of healing there. Maybe bring some structure to it, Saturn. Allow your passions, again, have the highest dream, not only for yourself, but for the other, and then go take fun, go take action and like be the heart of the child, right? And again, Mars is still in Taurus during this time, so it's still having you to slow down, is still having you to really focus on the body first, learning to be embodied with the energy and then go create. Maybe this is also part of your practice. Saturn has been inviting you in to do the structure, the responsibility, the ritual, the regiment, to ground into your body daily so that you can feel more of your body. You can feel better in your body because Cancer still, wants to feel good and nurtured. And the only way to do that is to do it on the everyday. And this is the practice, right? It's also Virgo. Keep practicing. It's not perfect. It's the perfect practice is what's coming in. And of course, the next day we've got June 14th. This is the new moon in Gemini. So you can see this here when the sun and the moon are conjunct. So this is an opportunity again, as you're tuning into your own emotional intelligence, because the ruler of Gemini is in Cancer. So feeling how you want to feel and thinking, it's like that heart-mind connection, right? It's what you're thinking about and what you're feeling. And then Gemini is giving you a new expression. Perhaps again, there's a new creative way that you want to see yourself, because we still have Venus right now that says, I need to value my creations. And so Gemini might be giving you a new idea, a new way to communicate these creations, a new way to communicate to your communities on how you want to be seen now. You want to be seen in a different way. And so this is a really pivotal point too, as we're approaching this Cancer season, that you can embody and be who you want to be from love and from the wisdom that was activated in the new moon in Sag, because you have these innate abilities within you. You just have to remember and believe that you have the power to co-create with source anything you want. So what are you co-creating? What level of emotional intelligence are you creating from? And is your heart really in it? Are you really truly coming from love? Or are you creating from fear? Right? So this is also something to look at as we still have the square happening, especially since Jupiter is still, expanding your emotional body, but it also wants to ask, are you creating from love or fear? And what space are you creating from, right? What is your motivation? And then going into June 19th. So now Chiron has been in Aries for, gosh, I don't even know how many years. Honestly, I have to look that up. My apologies for not looking it up, but it will be. So it's going to be doing a little dance right now. This is Chiron. This is where's Chiron right here? Excuse me, guys. This is Taurus. Okay. So Chiron is going to be, let's go one more day here. It's June 19th, but there it is. You can see that it's been several years in Aries. I believe it's maybe 10 or 12 years, I'm guessing. And it's going to be moving, back and forth retrograde and then finally fully until 2033. So, where Chiron was focused on the wounds of self-identity, feeling like you're worthy to be here, that you're worthy to be alive, right? All the first house matters. With Aries, I have Chiron and Aries natally. So it definitely has been a sense of identity. Who am I? I've changed my name back and forth. And I finally came back after this completion within my charts. Like, let me just come back to my original name, but the upgraded version, the more embodied version of the name, my birth name, right? So this has been how one of the many ways that Chiron has been reflected in my own chart. But now it's going into the house of values, money, stability. And so it's going to be challenging us to find new ways to be stable, but it's an internal job, right? It's transcending how much money you have in the bank for you to feel secure. And this also gets tied into Cancer, because again, Cancer likes safety and security. And we're going to be forced to look at all the ways that we've been outsourcing our sense of value and how we feel worthy by how much money we have, by how much service we give, right? Instead of just, we are worthy because we're here, because we're alive, we are worthy. So it all goes back to self-love and identity. And again, Venus is part of that. So if you can create from your loving heart space and come from love and everything that you do, create, then you're going to be able to really feel that sense of worthiness. But again, it's the practice, right? Because that day you can see that the moon is going to be in Virgo. So it's practicing how you want to show up and practicing feeling worthy, even if that's something that you've never got to experience before. So again, this is all of humanity's going through this. This is a collective experience. So you might want to see where these transits are happening in your own chart. And if you want to reach out and need support, I'd love to be able to help you with that in your own individualized space. And I also do composite chart sessions. So you can be looking at you and your partner, or you and your business, or you and your family, whatever it is you're needing support with, because we're all, we're not meant to do this life alone. We're in this together. So we're all having to face our money wounds, our sense of values, self-worth. So yeah, we're going to need each other to during this ingress time till 2033, when this goes back and forth through this particular sign. Now, of course, June 21st, we can see here, we've got the summer solstice, and that's happening the very next day. So this is where the sun now has just entered its cardinal point, the world axis point. This is where, the cardinal points are the initiation points of the seasons. So we're starting summer. We're beginning to get more hot here in the Northern Hemisphere. This is where I'm filming this at. And so things are getting heated up. Things are starting to move quicker, even though we still have Mars, our action planet, in Taurus, which is recommending us to still slow down, take a breath. Now we've got Chiron there that's making us face the wounds of how we feel in our body. There might be some physical things that you have to be looking at, some habits that no longer serve because it's impeding or harming the physical body. It was, again, because we didn't know how to value ourselves. We didn't know how to really take care of ourselves. So this is a new level of nurturance. Again, this emotional intelligence, because now during this time, we can see that Mercury, how we think, is coming to conjunct Jupiter, how we expand, and it's through water. And so if you've been following this channel, we've been really following the water element and the power of water and structured water. Again, I look to way showers like Dr. Emoto and Veda Austin, who have been showing the power of crystallography and how you speak to your water. It's reflected back, and our cells and our bodies mostly made of water, right? So how you talk to yourself matters, literally become physical form. You can bring yourself into wellness. You can bring yourself into illness, depending on not only what you're thinking, how you're speaking to yourself, but also what you're thinking, right? Because the body is always reading your thoughts. The body's always listening. And this is something, the remembrance that the South Node in Virgo, which we also have the North Node, what we've come to learn at 1 degree in Pisces, which is going to be trining that energy. So this is also a new vision for not only your sense of how you value yourself and how you nurture yourself, but also dreaming a new dream of yourself within the collective, of seeing how if we are all one, right? Look at the power of, like, when you go and talk to a plant, and these sentient life beings are listening. They respond to your words and your thoughts and your feelings. So with Pisces, it's like, hey, we're North Node, what we've come to learn, we've got to have a new vision of humanity. We got to have a new vision of ourselves, our sense of self-worth, our human family, because Cancer rules the family, right? It's ruled by the moon. We got to remember that we hold the power within us in our cymatical frequency and our form by the power of our words, the power of our vibration language. So this is really a good time. I've been working personally with blue light, using blue bottles and putting it outside for an hour, because I know that the sun programs the water in this blue light frequency, right? And then when you consume with it or cook with it, again, you're programming your reality through your water. So the focus with this Cancer season and in this summer, initiating a very pivotal for the next, second half of the year, it's helping us remember, moon memory, that we do hold the power of our frequency by what we think about, what we feel. And so it's demanding us to love ourselves more. It's commanding us to learn, even if you don't know how to love yourself completely and wholly, which I don't think any of us do. It's part of the lesson, right? It's part of the journey. And it's part of the support that we're being given right now through these planetary energies to sort of see that and feel that, more importantly, an image, a new version of you that does feel loved, that does feel supported and nurtured. And again, safety is not a number in your bank account or even a home you live in, even though we love that. Cancer loves to feel, that comfort. So does Taurus. But we're actually, with Pisces, actually being asked to transcend that need to have a certain number in our bank account. We're actually being called to just, can you trust the universe? The universe has your back, that you come from a loving, realm and the field of energy that supports all life, that the life is happening for you. And so, can you image that? Can you feel that? Can you practice that? And then with Venus and Leo, it's like, can you create that? Can you create that reality by having more fun, more play, being more joyful? I think of like this electric dolphin. I did this meditation. You guys can check out my channel for that. And check out the sister channel, Alchemy of the Mind Meditations, because that was a creation that I was inspired to manifest to, because it's one thing to study these cosmic energies and to talk about it, but it's another thing to embody it, as I'm learning to embody the energies myself. And as a Silva Method student and practitioner and a meditator for years, also leading groups and leading myself, I was inspired to create this channel so that we can embody these energies. Is, again, talk about it, learn about it, but then actually go take the practice, still the mind. We've got Uranus and Gemini for 7 years. So it really is the mind focus and getting ourselves into these certain brainwave states where we can program our realities by what we believe, how we talk to ourselves. So you guys can check out that channel as well if you're so inclined to work with the medicine of meditation. So going to June 21st now, let's move. Okay, we already looked at that. Mars enters Gemini on June 28th. So we're looking at this now. There's Mars, the action planet. We'll go ahead, day ahead. And okay, so we can see that during this period, Mars now, where it has been slowed down in the body, we can start seeing a forward momentum movement. Again, it's getting hotter here in the northern hemisphere, so the energy speeding up. Think about boiling water is starting to move quicker. And now we have our action planet that's going to be in Gemini, which is going to be moving quicker in the mind. So during this time, you might have some really fantastical ideas. Again, this is going to be sextiling Neptune now. So paying attention to your dreams, paying attention to the visions that your highest version self is giving you. We still have the North Node in Pisces, so it's a collective envisioning that we're all doing right now. And we've also got this energy trining Pluto, so we have the power to transform through the power of the mind and our thoughts, taking action, inspired action. I think of the podcaster Mel Robbins, is 3-2-1 action, right? 3-2-1. When you have an idea and inspired action, you count down like you're playing with yourself, like 3-2-1 go. And then you take action on that inspired idea. So we're really being given the momentum to move forward with our hopes, dreams, and wishes. And so this Gemini, this during this time period after June 28th, pay attention to your visions, pay attention to your words, and be ready to stabilize. Keep those practices you learn with Mars and Taurus. Be in the body before you create. Get embodied with the energy so you can have an easier time with it, because it can tax the nervous system otherwise. It can create nervous system disruption, dysregulated dreams, sleep states, things of that nature, because again, the mind is going to be very active during this time. And then, of course, June 29th. So this is where also Mercury is going to be stationing to go direct. That was out that day as well. Here we go. All right, let me go to the next day, because it seems like, okay, so right here, Mercury, it's going to be stationed direct to go retrograde at 26 degrees. So it's going to go back during this time after this initiation of the solstice to say, look, are you really managing how you feel by thinking positive thoughts, by thinking more nurturing, loving thoughts? And what action do you need to take? Because the retrograde is about going inward and really feeling your feels. It's not about bypassing anymore. It's about really allowing yourself to tune into what you really want and how you feel about things. How did you feel about past programming, things you learned from family? There might be some family dynamics that you have to face and come to terms with during this time. So, and a lot of times during the summer months, we spend a lot of time with our families, right? The kids are out of school, so we're doing picnics and parties and things with family. So that's going to be a lot of focus during this time. So just allow yourself to go inward, to feel the feels. A great way I love to embody this energy is I love watching movies that make me cry, things that really tap me into my emotional nature, my tears, water, right? Because tears can be very healing for the body if you allow yourself to feel. So just be mindful during this time, this retrograde, because it'll be moving forward in June and July. Mercury only retrogrades 3 times a year for 3.5 weeks. So during this time period, it's going to be probably mid-July the end of July, where Mercury is going to be ingressing back into and moving forward into Leo. So give yourself time to feel what you need to feel that sense of nurturance where you maybe weren't nurtured. Again, we still have the square, and it's still going to be slightly squaring Chiron. So how you value yourself, can you value yourself within your family? And to maybe value your family in a new way, maybe see the higher octave or the best expression of them. Even if you've had dissension or weird dynamics within the family, this is a way to upgrade your experience. But it's by going inward and feeling and allowing yourself to just reflect on past family dynamics. That's what's coming in. Okay, so then we can also see that it says Jupiter enters Leo. So yes, here's Jupiter. It's in Leo at this time also during this Mercury. Well, it's so interesting because Mercury is going retrograde, but then Jupiter is moving forward into Leo. So now we've got this sort of Leo stellium coming up here. We've still got Venus in Leo. Still going to be trining this energy. It's going to be trining Saturn. So this is also grounding in your creative ideas and practices, allowing yourself to really express yourself and then be the inner authority of your expressions, really, wanting to be seen, because now for the next 12 months, Jupiter's going to be expanding this part of your chart. So again, you might want to see where Leo is in your chart to see where this expansion is going to be happening, where this trine is going to be activating you to step into your highest expression, your most harmonious, loving, fun expression of self. And again, if you want support with that, please reach out. I'd love to help you. But and if you like any of this content, please subscribe right now. It helps. It's free for you. It supports the channel and greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. But again, moving forward, we can see that we still have this sextile happening with Mars and Gemini and Neptune. And we also have, let's see here. Okay, so we're coming in also too, and this is happening that next month, and we'll talk about this in June when the nodes of the moon change. So right now we've got the square happening with Mars and the South Node in Virgo. So it's remembering that your daily practice is really what's going to propel you ahead for your new creations, your new thoughts, your new ways of communicating. So this is being structured perhaps with, your communication style, who you're communicating to. Again, we still have this trine happening with Pluto. So there might be new groups, organizations that you might want to be a part of, that you might want to connect to. So be open to making that the ritual of expanding out perhaps your friendship group, who you communicate to. This is also social media. This is writing. For those writers out there, this is like getting to the grind and writing every day. Commit to your creative projects, because you've got Saturn supporting this energy right now. And again, with Leo and Jupiter, it just wants to expand you and grow your highest and best creations, because it's going to support all of humanity. And the more joyful you are, the more loving you are, the more fun you're having, the more you're uploading that to the whole collective of energy. And we can feel that, right? And it gives us permission to have more fun and joy and love by what we create, right? It's a symbiotic, a synergistic experience that we're creating in this reality. So I'm going to go ahead and stop share here. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining this channel. Again, if you'd like any of this content, is a little bit of a different metaphysical periphery on the astrology. And if you subscribe, again, it helps the channel. And it just gives the support to people who are wanting to see astrology in just a different way. Again, this Uranus and Gemini want something a little bit different. And so this is just a different way to see the energies, to allow yourself to embody the energies in more of a psycho-spiritual way. And I hope this serves you. I hope that you have a beautiful month of June. And just know that if you want support or to connect to the channel or our community, please reach out. I'd love to support and help you, because this is my passion. This is my joy. And also check out our sister channel, Alchemy of the Mind Meditations, if you want to learn to embody these energies. Again, it's one thing to study and talk about the astrology, but it's another thing to actually integrate it. So that's what the intention for the Alchemy of the Mind Meditation channel is for. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for connecting and spending your most valuable resource, which is your time. I really appreciate it. I'm so grateful for this community. for the fellow astrology lovers who are out here who are just doing the best we can to navigate these currents of energies in the highest expression that we can connect to. So, all right, guys, I'll see you on the next transmission. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.